Good evening. What has happened, all you tool-loving men and women out there here on the channel? Thanks for stopping back in tonight, right here with the Rustbelt Mechanic. So one of the biggest things everybody has been complaining and nitpicking all about over the last, I'd say, 7 months to a year is, where's the tools? Where's Nifty Tools? Yeah, I know I had to kind of take a sabbatical because I worked for a tool company. So conflict of interest and kind of seeming just introverted. And yeah, it just really wasn't going to work. But you know what? I'm not doing that anymore. Back working for the dealership, blue collar, working every day, and now we're bringing back the good old Nifty Tools of the Week. That's right, boys and girls. Bringing back some amazing Nifty Tools here for you guys to check out. I wish I could have brought it back a little bit sooner, but I had to test these out thoroughly, and I did give them a really good testing. We've got 3 really awesome tools for you guys to check out tonight. Stay tuned. Before I do jump in, I do want to give you a little bit of a heads up. A lot of the tools that you're going to see tonight were kind of donated to the channel. I know in some way or another that really doesn't skew or affect my view or vision of the tool or what I'm going to be saying to you guys. And there was no relayed information to what kind of review or anything I would be giving on these tools for you guys. This is my open and honest opinion of each one of these, but I did want to tell you that up front. So first off, tonight we're going to kick it in with the brand new Dyme PSI Rattlesnake custom hose making kit. Now this kit is going to be custom to the Dyme PSI platform. It's going to break some walls down of what you guys are used to using with getting some custom hoses made. Now most of you guys might have a custom hydraulic hose store someplace close to you. One of the Binkelmans, you've got the Clark stores, or whatever amount of local guys who are making hydraulic hoses or whatever kind of fuel hoses, AN fittings for the applications that you need. Now one of the biggest headaches that you have is trying to fit everything, get the idea off to the hose maker, and make sure that everything is made correctly, it's all pieced together right, and it's made with the right hose, and you're just hoping that's what it is. And not to mention, it usually costs an arm and a leg, and it takes forever to be able to get. I tell you what, every time I've ever used any kind of custom hose shop, they've always been backed up, and it's taken 2 to 3 weeks to get anything custom made. So Dyme PSI is taking care of that right here with their new Rattlesnake kits. Once we look into the kits, we're going to be looking at some really cool little nifty tools, just like this one right here. We're going to see all different kinds of fittings as well. Open the kit up, and we're going to see everything from straight fittings to every single degree fitting you could think of, pretty much all the way to 180 degrees. Now it doesn't come just in -6, it comes in -6, -8, -10, -4, whatever kind of pretty much AN size you are looking for in your application, they have the kit to use for it. Now, what makes this kit unique is how it's going to be fitting to each application. You can see these little blue rattlesnake links right here. Each one of them kind of just pop and lock together, clicking and locking into place, and they are nice and flexible. Now, they are only flexible to a certain degree. The hoses are actually only made to flex so much, so these blue little connectors only flex as much as the hose that they're manufacturing is going to be able to flex in the real world application. So if you flex too far, they're not going to hold together. So you're going to know exactly when you flex too far or when you can't make that turn. So you've got that really nice little bit to it. These really great AN fittings on the end is going to be able to fit, and you're going to be able to custom run this anywhere you need to, whatever application you have. They just click lock together into the little ends, kind of locking in and out of place. And what really makes the heart of this application is going to be this center dial ring right here. Now this center dial ring is made up of a couple of really cool parts. The first one I'm going to have to show you is going to be the little gauge set around here, and that is going to be what turns the unit back and forth from each other, and that is going to show our degrees of where the relativity of the ends are to each other. Sorry, that is right here on the lower side. That's going to turn all the way around. You're going to add a 0 all the way up to 360 degrees out. It does have a little locking node right here. You're going to be able to turn it right, tighten, lock it into place, and loosening up allows you to make adjustments. Now, for some reason, you need this line set to be a half length longer. Just one of these blue lines is going to be, you know, too long if you add a single one and too short if you take the one out. We can make this little turn in this dial right here to add up to one extra length into your hose set to make it an extra dialed in, refined reading. Once you're done with that, you're going to lock that one into place, and then obviously you're going to have your hose kit all ready to go. Now, the really simple part is going to be hopping over to Dyme PSI's website, dymepsi.com, and you're going to input everything just from this tool right here. First, it's going to ask you what kind of ends you want. It's going to ask you how many links you put into the system. It's going to ask you which dial you use, whether you use the smaller or the larger one. There is a smaller version one as well in case you couldn't fit this into some other place. Then it's going to ask you your degrees of direction from your fittings. That's going to be put into their system, as well as whether you put in how many millimeters of that half length or whatever stretch length size you really needed within your hose. You put all of that into your system, and within a couple of seconds, it's going to pop out a number, and it says, hey, this hose is going to be roughly $58 to make. This is the one that I actually made for the Duramax on the last tank build. If you want to see me putting this in specifically into their online system, go over and check that last video out. It's in the part 2 of the auxiliary fuel tank build. Once you get this thing put into their system, this thing is going to be ready and made usually within 12 to 24 hours is what they're normally saying their business time is going to be, and then able to ship out after that. What's special about this is going to be for those amazing race car drivers who are jumping around all and around everywhere else, who might have to have a custom hose made and shipped overnight to some random place in Timbuktu where they just so happen to be at. Usually within that amount of time, everything's tested, it's pressure tested, it's cleaned up, it's ready to go in that time and ready to be shipped out for next day service air. So one of those really neat options that I didn't even know about for making these hydraulic and fuel line hoses. When you're ordering, it comes in all different kinds of hoses that you might want to choose from high pressure to fuel, diesel, and then any kind of heat shielding after the fact as well. Dyme PSI really knocked it out of the park on this one. I really can't come up with a whole lot of negatives. I didn't find any real issues with the design or anything issue-wise with the tool when making the custom hoses I needed. The only thing that I would have to say is this isn't really for every technician. All the techs who might make a custom line here and there, or the DIY guy who's looking for somebody to be able to make that hose for them, this may not be for you because of the cost of the unit. Now, these things are going to come in at $469 for this Dash 6 kit, and kind of goes up from there from the size and what you want them to cover as well. So this one coming in at $469 seems a little bit pricey for the DIY guy. However, for you guys who are in the custom shop business, who are making custom lines, having them shipped all over the place, or we'll just say a race team who's making your own custom lines for each one of your cars and may need some certain things made on the road, this may be the saving grace savior tool for you, so you may want to really look into it. I definitely recommend it for the guys who are making custom lines, who want to make something really cool custom and maybe even save it later on to be able to sell it to some of their buddies as well. So make sure you guys go check this one out. I definitely recommend the Dyme PSI Rattlesnake Toolkit. Next tool we're going to get into rocking is going to be the Topdon Artidiag 800 BT. Now, scan tools on this channel, it's something I really wanted to stay away from, all the little handheld ones and just mini code readers and whatever. I get probably 300 emails a week from these little companies wanting me to review all of their little tiny code readers and scan tools. Just saying right here for anybody who's watching from those companies, stop emailing me because I'm not going to review them. Here on the channel, I am a technician who's a professional in the business, and I am only going to review more professional or scan tools that I would use in a minimum at my home garage right here in Ohio. So this one is going to be a really good mid-range one to kick off for the guys who are doing a little bit of DIY work, but still wanting the functionality of something that could be used in a shop atmosphere. So let's look into what this Artidiag 800 BT has to offer. Now I'm hoping that you guys can hear me just fine. I found out one of the downfalls of being here in my own shop with a tin roof is that when it rains, it sounds like somebody is just crashing through the ceiling. So hopefully you can hear all this okay. Here with the Artidiag 800BT comes in the kit. It has your scan tool function right there. In the kit, you're going to have this nice hard cased kit with your instructions as well as your key card for updates in the future. I got a bunch of these little do not eat packets for keeping moisture out, and all of your charger USB-C charging and adapters for whatever market you might be in. So super nice kit that it comes in right there. And then we have our actual Artidiag unit. Charging, you're going to have USB-C right here on top. Has USB port for doing all of your updates, as well as USB-C for charging through the top. Power going to be right there through one little button. And the one really cool thing that I do like about this one is that it does have the Bluetooth little dongle that you're going to plug into the OBD2 port in the vehicle. And where is that one? Hidden right here on the bottom of the unit. It's going to be kept right there. Keep it all nice and charged up as well, charging it off the unit directly. Now, another cool thing about these Topdon units is that it really is very close to launch-based platform and the Android-based diagnostic platforms that you're used to on a lot of other scan tools. We're going to be able to go into each one of the vehicles through our vehicle scan if you want to do just an OBD2 check. And then what I really like to see is these maintenance and services. All of these little functions that you can see right here: air fuel trim resets, ABS brake bleeding, which I just used for my 2008 Cadillac SRX that I just picked up. We've got your SCR catalyst for your DEF on any of your diesels, as well as DPF, EGR resets, electronic throttle relearns. I did that one on a 2010 GMC or a 2014 GMC Terrain, I believe I used that one for. Has all kinds of different things to it, as well as injector coating as well. So a whole bunch of cool resets, which is why I think this is a really great midline one, because of the bi-directional functionality that this one has. You're able to check for upgrades very easily, and it is a really quick scan tool. One of the negative things that I really kind of wanted to point out was anytime you want to go and use any of the repair info, you go into anything that has a drop down box to it, it's going to be a little bit laggy. So, you know, I might have to push the button a couple of times and it will catch up eventually. So that's one of the only little gripes that I had about that one. Coverage list that it has. I'm not connected to my network right now, but it does connect to the Wi-Fi, and you are able to check the connectivity on this scan tool to whatever vehicle you are able to use. The color screen on it is really nice. It's really great, interactive. The touch screen does respond very quickly to just about anything we need. We're going to go into setup. We can see we've got setup for me, the Rustbelt mechanic at the shops, any extra dongles that you would want to set up with anything. And you can go into, if we had it connected to a vehicle, our vehicle scan or OBD2. At that point, you can connect with whatever vehicle you think that you're working on. Once you connect to that vehicle, it's going to ask if you want to manually or automatically connect to the vehicle. Or if you wait more than 5 seconds or so, it's going to automatically auto-detect what vehicle that it's in. So really great coverage right there. And as you can see, coverage wise, we're going to see, you see it is a little bit touchy on the screen, but we're going to see just about everything that you can think of in the US market, as well as anything overseas. I'd have to say probably 3/4 of the list of everything that's covered in this, I absolutely have no clue. Rolls-Royce, Range Rover, Renault, Toyota, US, Vaz, Vauxhall, yep, United Pakistan vehicles. So the coverage on this one is absolutely ridiculous. Now, I'm not really going to go into a whole bunch of exact function of this one, because for you guys who are technicians and used to using scan tools, this is going to be very familiar to your launch-based platform scan tools, like I said, for the Android-based tablets. This is going to be like mirrored on the software. It works great. It's been tried and true, tested for quite a few years now. Glitches are on the very, very few. Like I said, the only ones that I was finding was it was a little laggy on touchscreen whenever there was a drop-down box, but it is a very nice and capable scan tool. Now, it's not going to do any kind of wow functions like this does, stuff that no other scan tool does or has. It's not going to get past any of the secure gateway modules of the newer Chrysler products like we're hoping, but it is a really awesome and really capable scan tool, especially for the price that this one has. Now, normally on this Topdon unit, they're running upwards of $400 to $430, depending on where you want to get it. Now, this one, it is available over on Amazon, and it just so happens that they are running a special on these over on Amazon just today, Tuesday, August the 10th. Over on Amazon, I will put the link down in the description below. They're running an extra 15% off, and I think the extra discount is going to get this thing all the way down to like 350 some bucks. Now, for a Bluetooth capable scan tool, bi-directional functions, and all the resets that most DIY and most, basic technicians can handle doing, this scan tool is going to be really great in that price range. I definitely recommend picking one of these up, especially for you guys who are technicians and need one in your everyday driver vehicle. Again, hopefully you guys are able to hear this one okay over all of the crazy rain. But last but not least on our nifty tool of the week, we have this amazing Mastercool hydraulic brake line and I guess the other line universal flaring kit. Now, for you guys who may not live in the Rust Belt, this may not be one of the essential tools that you guys have really seen. But for us guys who do live here in the Rust Belt and are used to brake lines, fuel lines, any kind of EBAP lines, hard steel lines being on vehicles, they are eventually going to rust within this area of the country, and we are going to have to replace them. As a matter of fact, I just used this one on the 2008 Cadillac that I picked up because it had 3 front brake lines that were all rusted out on the front cross member. Now, of course, being a 2008, they're all out of date and everything, so you have to make your own. And that's where this kit really shines in giving you guys some really nice professional brake line flares. For just about any kit that you guys can think of, this kit is one of the best. Let's crack this open and see what's inside. Now, when we bust into this kit, we're going to see all kinds of really cool, nifty little flare adapters, fittings, and the actual hydraulic unit right here. Now, this specific kit is able to do everything from 3/16 all the way up to 3/8 half-inch line set. In here, we're going to be able to do flares all the way up through half-inch. All the different little dies and adapters for them for the different kinds of ends that you're going to do. It's able to do the brake lines, bubble flare. It's going to do the double flare where it presses it back in on itself. That's going to be probably the most prevalent one you're going to be using is the 3/16 one right here. You're going to bubble it out and then you're going to push it back in on itself for the double flare on a 3/16 brake line. So there's that one, as well as all of our metric bubble flaring. You're going to see that down here for some of you guys who are in the Euro market for your BMWs and your Volkswagens and such. And then over here you're going to see some of your bigger fittings as well inside of there. So actually, let's crack in and do one of these real quick to show you guys how it's used. The kit does come with a 3 to 16 millimeter or 1/8 inch to 5/8 brake tube cutter for you guys who do not have a cutter, and it does work pretty well. I've got a standard piece of 3/16 brake line, and we're going to show you guys how easy this one is to use. Now we're going to set up our 3/16 for a double flare. This is probably going to be one of the most standard flares that you guys are used to seeing, the inverted 45-degree angle. So we've got a couple things set up. We've got our tube cut at a fairly straight angle, and we're going to put it into the end right here. Now you have to figure out the depth of where you're going to put your hose, and that is what this little arm here comes down for, is to size the depth right there. Once you have your depth sized, then we can go ahead and tighten down our little side arm right here. That is going to pinch the two halves of this clamshell together and lock this tube into place. We get that one locked all into place, and we get our depth setting all out of the way. The 3/16 bubble flare adapter is going to go right into this little locked area, and then we can turn our handle to push this down until it makes contact in with the tube line that we're going to be using. And funny enough, I grabbed the wrong fitting. Look at that one. So actually, we get that one out of the way, and we're going to use our 3/16 ones. Good thing I can actually read because it is put onto each one of these fittings right here. So let's go ahead and put our 3/16 one into place. Tighten it in. Tighten it in down until we come to a stop. And then our hydraulic press right here, we're going to close the valve on that and go ahead and pump a couple of times until it bottoms out. That die right here was actually going to bottom out in the two clamshells right here, which is going to make that bubbled flare. Release the pressure on the hydraulic portion and go ahead and turn it out. Now let's see what we can see down inside of right here. See if we can see it with enough light. You guys can see that we have a nice little bubble flare. Now, if you guys were just doing a 45-degree bubble flare, that is the point in which you were stopped. However, we are doing a double flare, so we need to remove that one and insert our just little cone end, which is going to push the flare back in on itself. So we're going to put that one in and tighten that down until we just touch the end. Tighten our hydraulic pin, and then go ahead and press it in 3 or 4 times until it bottoms out and you can't press it anymore. Do a little squeeze, release our hydraulic, and then back it on out. After everything's backed out, we can go ahead and loosen up the clamshell here and remove our line to see our perfectly flared brake line. I'm telling you what, I was not really great on using the manual wrench versions of brake flaring pretty much ever in the years of me using them, and this kit has never let me down once yet. I do not think that I have yet to make a messed up brake line flare using this kit. It makes the worst of us in this business when it comes to brake flaring put out some really good work, and that's why I would definitely recommend to at least check in on this kind of tool. Now, there's going to be a couple of different sets that you're going to get on this one. Available over on Amazon. You can get the set that just has the regular brake flare lines. You can get the set that has that and the metrics, or you can get the full set like I got right here that has that, the transmission cooler lines, and pretty much any fitting that I'm ever going to need to use. I wanted to have that master kit to it. So with this one, it's really going to be easy to pick up over on Amazon. I'll put the link down below. You can get this one at a steal for 295 bones. That's what I picked it up for a little bit while back, and that's what it's still going for over there. So for one of the best ways for brake flaring or any kind of line flaring, especially here in the Rust Belt, this one from Mastercool is going to be the one to check out. Well, guys, that's about all I'm going to have for you today right here on this episode of Nifty Tools of the Week. I've got a lot more tools that I'm kind of diving into, but again, I'm not going to get into any of these brand new flashy tools without actually having been using them here in the shop or at the shop at the dealership for at least some period of time. So we may get a couple of weeks in between some of these new episodes coming up, but I promise you Nifty Tools will definitely be continuing here in the future. I appreciate everyone tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification so you get notified when I come out with cool, awesome content for awesome tools and Nifty Tools of the Week right here. Make sure you hit that bell button. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and as always, you guys stay awesome.
1 hour later.
I show you not. It's like 10:30. I've been trying to shoot this video for like 3 hours, and every time I go to film it, just like downpours, and I can't even hear myself think. Like, this has probably been the longest Nifty Tools of my life. Not gonna lie. But it's still awesome because it's Nifty Tools.